My major project illustrated Flânure of Dublin, inspired by James Joyce. The motivation for the project was to build on areas I investigated through theoretical research and in my illustration practice. Fitting for this was to develop a strong project based on reportage illustration or visual commentary. This entailed a plan to design and illustrate an artist's book using the idea of the Flânure as a source of inspiration. The aim was to take the viewer on a visual journey through Dublin inner city. Underpinning this was to depict the contrasting urban spaces of north and south inner city in a non-sequential visual narrative without words. The central concept was to act as a visual witness by drawing and taking photos from direct observation. The idea was to show different viewpoints of social dynamics from everyday scenarios of city life. Pivotal in this was to mix the outside and inside perspectives to add variety and offer new learning scope in my practice. Research into literary and street maps of Dublin helped inform the decision to choose James Joyce's text Ulysses as starting point. After meeting with the James Joyce Centre, the resulting conversations established a clear idea of locations that map episode 8 Lestrygonians in Ulysses. It retraces part of the journey Leopold Bloom makes through Dublin inner city, starting on the north side with the Oval Public House and ending on College Street. They show the exterior urban spaces, streets and people of each place and the corresponding interior viewpoints from a cafe, bus window and various shops. Bloom spends much of this episode on considerations of what and how we ought to consume. He notes constantly what has been eaten and purchased by others. The theme of hunger can be used as a metaphor for spiritual deficit or lack of taste in a brash world. In respect of this, the intention was to highlight this theme visually with subtle visual clues on each page and deliberately ending in a confectionery place. To reflect the idea of a wandering line, a blue line was woven into the illustrations, flanking some of the existing lines and travelling throughout the book, evident in various places behind people and in front of objects, marking the path taken throughout the various locations. The project consisted of a 12-page concertina A3 size landscape book and a smaller A5 version for direct mail and a more affordable option. In relation to the A3 book, the design was revised from one large page intended to open out and fold into 6 pages to 12 individual pages on concertina folds. Primarily, this was made to facilitate the book construction and facilitate the viewer's easier interaction. The first 6 pages focus on the outside theme, with the other half depicting the inside viewpoints. Critical to this process was to avoid being stereotypical and to maintain an element of visual surprise and intrigue. The aim was to make images that weave observations from everyday life, people's behaviour, architectural elements, interiors, and all manner of objects. The stories play out beyond the pages and can be re-experienced each time the viewer engages with the work. The title itself, Everyone, Everywhere, Every Day, is inspired from Joyce's book Finnegan's Wake. Exploring the history of the concertina or lapella book, it was interesting to find that in the Victorian area they were commonly used as travel souvenirs, depicting beautiful panoramic scenes of places, customs and culture of the region. This was similar to the project as it focused on snapshots of a particular culture that could be seen as curious or exotic to other audiences in another part of the world. It also offered some ideas for future projects. In terms of a theoretical context, the project applied the concept of the Flânure. It provided a great framework to create a visual narrative or account of contemporary urban life. The main point of interest was the idea of illustrating the urban world through the perspective of this character, employing a unique visual narrative. Creating a distinct yet recognisable sense of place was central to the project. In the Dictionary of Human Geography, sense of place is defined as the attitudes and feelings that individuals and groups hold vis-à-vis the geographical areas in which they live. A further commonly suggests intimate, personal and emotional relationships between self and place. This is echoed in Jung Fu Tuan's Tupophilia, which he defines a sense of place as human love or place. It is the effective bond between people and place or setting. In terms of methodology, the methods employed in this project include an informal interview with the James Joyce Centre in Dublin, which informed what locations to illustrate. Critical to developing this project was starting a reflective blog which acted as a project log recording the various stages, developments, thoughts, ideas and everything that influenced this visual inquiry. A key learning factor was researching different theoretical ideas and illustrations which established links between both that provided a platform to situate my practice in visual reportage. Methods used in the process consisted of a mix of practical notebook work, sketching, photography and experimenting with materials and drawings, and researching related themes and relevant artists. Drawing large scale with a variety of ink and pens, the images were then photographed and coloured, adding digitally using multiple layers in Photoshop. Maintaining a daily practice, the aim was to refine methods of visual thinking through drawing and observation and to develop distinctive personal style. In terms of composition and colour, the aim was to focus on constructing dynamic compositions to produce compelling images. The colour palette was largely informed by the text, which was rich in colour references to draw from. For example, pineapple rock, lemon plat, bluey, greeny, silvery, red wallpaper. The association with image and text provided a great source to apply a variety of tones and hues. In conclusion, inspired by James Joyce's episode 8 Lestrygonians in Ulysses, the project focused on the city as a space for visual investigation, reflecting everyday contemporary culture. The concept of the Flânure provided a framework to hinge the project on. The focus in this context was the experience of the everyday places and how we use it and are a part of it. The aim was to make, in book form, vivid narratives that possess a visual charge and vitality. The key learning outcome in this has been an important value in drawing and observation and has set a trajectory for my illustration practice in the area of visual commentary.